questions in the crowd, I'll come around with the mic, so hands up if you have any questions. Come down to you.
Thank you, really enjoyed that. Can you share a time or experience from your own past where you've perhaps struggled with this and you haven't listened to maybe your own advice and you've not been able to recover or recuperate kind of effectively? You've learned that lesson the hard way.
I can give a current one. So as I say, my background's in sport. I understand the protocols of training, how I should be training. Recently, I've started using a running coach to train for a half marathon. And it took a little bit of getting used to. I like to train fairly intense, like most days, which training for a half marathon isn't great. So there was a little bit of like adaptation to get to that. So on one of my rest days, I didn't run, but I rode. And it actually led to then my following run. I picked up a hamstring injury, and you can't pinpoint and kind of fully blame that. But I think it's just, making sure if I kind of was using a run coach. I kind of like deviated from the plan. I just think if you're going to put time and money into something, we all do it, we all make mistakes, and it's easy to do. And that is just because, I'm a creature of habit. I love just doing cardio over anything else. So although I couldn't run that day, I kind of veered to something else. But that was keep me off.
Sometimes pain forces you to change. My first marathon, I didn't approach it in a way I would approach it now. I was doing 10-mile runs every day for about 3 weeks. Then I picked up Achilles tendinopathy. Still did a marathon, finished in 4 hours 58. I was happy, chuffed with that. But then I zoomed out. I was like, wow, I know I can give more. This was in the day before super shoes. So the next time will shock you. So I zoomed out, started thinking about recovery, nutrition, mindset, like how do you really approach a marathon, being disciplined. So the year after, I went back and ran 3:01, but just by zooming out and like looking at like these are the ingredients needed to perform well. And with that experience, it also impacted my health as well. So like it technically should be health then performance, but this one was performance and then health. So it was a big holistic change by going through that injury process.
I'm probably not the best person to ask that question because I don't train for anything in specific. I love Pilates, I love yoga. I'm more restorative and recovery, so I don't really have an answer of anything that kind of...
By your clients?
Physical task or challenge was something where you've overworked at the time where you've really noticed you pushed it a bit too much with stress or whatever it might be in life. Not just physical challenge.
Okay, yes, so I can certainly give a work reference, absolutely. I was doing a research dissertation, and so I specialise in chronic illness. I see quite complex, chronically fatigued ME patients. And I was doing my research, and of course I ended up doing a research that needed a team, but I did it on my own. I did anyway, I won't bore you with those details. So I was doing that, and then I was starting seeing chronically ill clients, and I didn't actually factor in how much extra work was going to be involved in that. So what I started noticing is I started getting fatigued, and I was thinking, geez, is this condition contagious? I genuinely did. I was like, is this contagious? Because I'm starting to feel fatigued now. But I just had to zoom out, and I came back to the stress bucket. I was like, actually, what I'm doing now is I am overworking my brain. I am working the muscle in my brain so much. And I remember my husband was training for an Ironman at the time, and I was more tired than he was. And I was like, what's going on? And I actually pulled back, and I actually started looking at the research of how much energy our brain takes up when we're doing a task. And I turned around to him and I said, you just trained, you just did, I can't remember whatever he did. And I was like, I actually burnt more fuel just by what I did, and I wasn't moving, I was working my brain. So it actually came back to, I started recognizing how much the muscle in our head uses energy. And I started factoring that in and how I kind of managed my caseload, and I just had to pull back a lot. So when it came to kind of from more the work perspective, I started noticing that red flag where I was more fatigued, and then pulling back, and then the energy came back. So yeah, factoring in how much our brain, how much energy that takes up, sometimes is like doing a workout.
Great. Well, thank you so much for our panelists today. That's actually all we've got time for.